Hey BookTube, it's Allie's Books and Creativity. It is now 2025. I didn't do a video at the very end of 2024 because I feel like when I do like a wrap up of the year, it's always been repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. And I just feel like personally, I want to make some new content that comes in here with my books and stuff. So I'm going to make it a little slight different. And it's going to be the books I want to read in 2025. So further ado, let's get started. First of all, I wanted to say I couldn't get into recording like a week ago because when I normally would have started for this start of the year because I was sick with a really bad cold. And I still feel a little stuffy from it, not as bad. I still have a cough left over, not too terrible. And I'm winded with asthma, but we'll make it further ado. I am pretty much all better. I do have a little bit of laryngitis sitting in my vocal cords. So my voice might go in and out. I'm actually doing a little better with it today compared to Monday with my laryngitis, where my vocal cords are damaged. Because on the side, on my spare time, I love to sing songs when I have my stereo playing music through Amazon. And when I tried to sing yesterday, I noticed some damage in my vocal cords where I couldn't sing the note. So I was like, well, hot herbal tea it is again, I would say. But other than that, I feel a lot better. All right, now we can get started. Well, I did finish one book, and I'm going to introduce that book. That will be the start of the book for the year, because that was the book I did want to read in 2025, and that was Air by Sabaa Tahir. This book is a spin-off to her Ember in the Ashes quartet, which is a 4-book series. This is going to be a duology, which is only going to be 2 books. And if you've read An Ember in the Ashes quartet, you are up for a treat with this book. And I can just tell you, no spoilers to be attached. I am not that type of person. Unless it's a book talk and then you get warned there are going to be spoilers and then you have a chance to leave the video if there are spoilers. But there will be no spoilers in this video. So yeah, I would say if you're an Ember in the Ashes fan by Sabaa Tahir, definitely pick up Air. It is your go-to book and you'll be happy you're back into this world again. I was definitely happy to be back in this world again. The next book I want to read in 2025 is The Fountain of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. And I got this book for Christmas, and I've always wanted to read this book. And I asked for it, and I finally got it. And the nice part is I happen to find out it's a signed copy by the author. It's not like personally signed like from the title. It's just like that signed copy like you would get at Barnes & Noble or your local bookstore if they sign books and they're selling it for the holidays. I know Barnes & Noble does that sometimes during the holidays. And speaking of Barnes & Noble, I got Barnes & Noble membership. Finally, after all the times of being an adult, I got Barnes & Noble membership. And it's part of the free $5 rewards program, and it's awesome. So awesome. I finally got to use my $5 off for the first time for my last purchase. Oh my gosh, like I would have walked out paying $60, $70. I walked out only paying $50. It was amazing. Yeah. And The Fountains of Silence, before I go to the next book. This is how can I word it? This is a historical fiction taking place in Spain. Maybe if I can read it to you. If you haven't read it, you would get it. It takes place in Madrid in 1957 under the oppressive dictatorship of General General Francisco Franco. Spain is hiding a dark secret. Meanwhile, tourists and foreign businessmen flood into Spain under the welcoming promise of sunshine and wine. Among them is 18-year-old Daniel Matheson, the son of an oil tycoon, who arrives in Madrid with his parents hoping to connect with the country of his mother's birth through the lens of his camera. Photography and fate introduce him to Anna, whose family's interweaving obstacles reveal the lingering grasp of the Spanish Civil War, as well as a chilling definition of fortune and fear. Daniel's photographs leave him with uncomfortable questions amidst shadows of danger. He is backed into a corner of difficult decisions to protect those he loves. Lives and hearts collide, revealing an incredibly dark side to the sunny Spanish city. Master storyteller Ruta Sepetys once again shines light into one of history's darkest corners in this epic, heart-wrenching novel about identity, unforgettable love, repercussion of war, and the hidden violence of silence, inspired by the true post-war struggles of Spain. Includes vintage media reports, oral history, commentary, photos, and more. Ooh, so there's going to be like photos in here. I'm curious what photos are going to be in here. Is that true? I don't see it by flipping the pages, but I'll see when I read it. I'll see it when I read it. That's what we'll do. Yeah. The next book I want to read in 2025, it will complete a trilogy, and I'm going to be very sad when it's over when I finish it, is The Whispering Night by Susan Dennard. And it's the third book in the trilogy of The Luminaries, which if you guys don't know what The Luminaries is, I can read to you now what it's about. It's basically it's about, how can I word it? It's been a while. Actually, it's been a while since I've read this book. I've read book 1 and reread book 1 last year, and read book 2 as of last year as a new book. And I'll read to you what it is, since it's been a while. Hemlock Falls isn't like other towns. You won't find it on a map. Your phone won't work here, and the forest outside town might just kill you. Winnie Wednesday wants nothing more than to join the Luminaries, the ancient order that protects Winnie's town and the rest of humanity for the monsters and nightmares that rise in the forests of Hemlock Falls every night. Ever since her father was exposed as a witch and a traitor, Winnie and her family have been shunned. But on her 16th birthday, she can take the deadly Luminary Hunter trials and prove herself true and loyal and restore her family's good name or die trying. But in order to survive, Winnie enlists the help of the one person who can train her, Jay Friday, resident bad boy and Winnie's ex-best friend. While Jay might be the most promising new hunter in Hemlock Falls, he also seems to know more about the nightmares of the forest than he should. Together, he and Winnie will discover a danger lurking in the forest no one in Hemlock Falls is prepared for. Not all monsters can be slain. Not all nightmares are confined to the dark. And every time I read this, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember this. I remember that when I first read it. Then I read book 2. It's going to be the same with book 2. And then when I get to book 3, it'll be the end. And I'll be sad. Would I cry? Depending how the book ends. It depends how the book ends for me. If it ends in a sad note, I just feel sad depending how sad it is. The only book that really made me cry as sad was, there was a few, but the number one that made me cry the most was probably The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. But this book, I don't know. But this book will probably make me sad when it's over because I loved this trilogy. I loved how dark and gothic-y it was. So yeah, that's the trilogy I'm going to be finishing this year. After every single release, I kept getting the book for Christmas, and because it would come out around the holidays, and my family's like, and my birthday's in September, and my family's always like, oh, you have to wait till Christmas now. It's like, thanks. I wish my birthday was in the spring. So I can go by myself and spoil myself, but okay. So, yeah, I'll finish that book this year, and wrap it up and put in my review for it and for the year and for Goodreads, and this year now with Fable, because now I have a Fable account, and go from there. Yep. Okay, moving on. The next book I want to read, I actually bought this book through my Christmas gift card funding, and it came out the very last day of December of 2024, and it'll be a read for not December, for February 2025 is when I'm going to read it. And that is Better Than Revenge by K.C. West. And this is giving me enemies to lover vibes. It's definitely that enemies to lovers, and it's really a big one. When I was looking at it, I was researching it, and I was like, ooh, I want to pick up this book, and I love Casey West books. And I have other books I have to read from her too. Like my favorite one from her so far is Listen to Your Heart. And that was like almost like a summer read. For me, that's like a summer read because it has like the summer vibe of the people hanging at the lake on floaties. So that gave me a bit of a summer vibe. This is more giving me like school vibes, but it's supposed to be an enemies to lovers. So I'll see what I think of it, and maybe I'll get back to YouTube about it. Maybe I won't. It depends on my schedule. But yes, this is on my TBR for this year. So be on the lookout that I'm reading this if you follow me on any social media platforms. And speaking of social media, I don't have Twitter no more. I don't have I don't have Twitter anymore, and I don't have Facebook anymore. I have Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. For reading social media, I have Goodreads and Fable. Those are my only 5 that I give you guys permission to follow me on. Everything else will have to be permission-wise, like Snapchat is permission. Discord is permission. Email, that's a big one with permission. And because I use my email for a lot of business stuff. And what's that other one I use that I don't let people touch? Man, it won't come around my brain. Oh, and the number one that's prohibited, text messaging. No one on this platform is allowed to have my number. No, don't ask for it. All right, moving on. The next book I want to read in 2025 is Games Untold by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a novella and prequel to her spin-off of her franchise of the Inheritance games, and I love this mystery book series and franchise. It's like, I remember finishing the trilogy of the Inheritance games because it was originally going to be a trilogy, and she's like, nope, there's more content coming. I was like, you fooled me. You fooled me, Jennifer Lynn. You fooled me. I thought it was going to be over after book 3, and I was so sad, and you're like, a week later, you're like, surprise! Like, of course you were going to do that. All of those mystery writers, they pull something off their sleeve when it comes to releasing new mystery books. Jennifer Lynn Barnes is one of them. Because I was expecting for it to end in the 3rd book. And all of a sudden, I get an alert on my Instagram. She's releasing spin-offs. And I'm like, no, you did not. I can't believe it. You renewed it. Woohoo! So yeah, I was like excited and been picking up the books ever since. But then she's been releasing them around my birthdays and holidays, so it's kind of like, ugh, I have to wait. I can't buy it. I'll get, it's just the family rule. So yeah, Literally like every birthday I'm getting a copy, and it's so fun. It's like I go back to the series, the world, and I'm not going to go in. If you haven't read the Inheritance games, please pick this up. You are up for a treat. I want to read this year. I'm going to probably read this, if not this month, definitely in the spring, because the next book in this franchise is coming out in the end of the very last day of July, or it's the last week of July. So it's going to come out like end of July, border to August. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely pick this up. Pick this up. Definitely pick this up. If you're missing out, you will be surprised how good this book is compared to other mysteries. Like don't get me wrong, I love a good mystery, like, oh my gosh, the person died. Who did it? Who did this? What happened? But this is more like you're solving puzzles, you're solving riddles, and you're solving like secret passages and codes. It's kind of so cool. It's a much cooler mystery to read. So yeah, moving on. The book I'm going to read in 2025, the next one I'm going to announce, is The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig. I read one book from her last year in the summer. It was called Small Favors, and I liked that book. It was really good. My awesome cousin, she bought it for me because I finished a book one time when we were on vacation. And she said, "You finished your book?" I'm like, "Yeah. Do you have another book to read?" "Just this one, but I'm almost done." She's like, "Oh, okay. I have to go to the store anyways." I'm like, "Okay." And then we go to like Walmart, and she's like, "Oh, pick a book." And I'm looking around, I'm looking at like what the books are about and which one I want the most. It was between Small Favors or The Cheerleaders. And Small Favors was really speaking to me. So I picked Small Favors, and that was really good. But 13 Child is more giving me like a gothic-y horror thriller vibes. So definitely, if you're sensitive to reading scary stuff at night, this is something I wouldn't read at night. You could read it during the day, but see, I'm prone to nightmares, and I don't care. I'll read this in bed, and I could have a nightmare of a Spiderzilla chasing me, and I'll wake up panting for a minute, but that'll be okay. But yeah, this won't be the I've never. No, how can I wear it? I've had many books that gave me nightmares at night, and I'm like, oh, whatever, and went back to sleep. But this looks pretty scary vibe, because I could tell on top here. Look at the skull with the flame and the cave of the stairway. This looks really good. This looks good. Like, I'm excited to give this a try. Yes, big time. Okay. Moving on. We're almost done, guys. I got one more big pile left to go, and then I got 2 books to announce. That's images on my phone, because the book is not released yet. Those books are not released yet. So the next book I want to read in 2025 is The Mirrors of the Beast by Alexandra Bracken, which is book 2 of Silver in the Bone. This series, I don't know if it's going to finish with book 2. I have to read and find out, or look up on Goodreads and Serious Eavesdropping. I don't understand why. So this book, it had love. It's having love. But this series, it has the vibe, it has the retelling of King Arthur. And I love King Arthur retellings. Like, they are so good. I should probably find King Arthur movies. So if you guys recommend any King Arthur movies, leave it in the comment below so I can, and then what streaming service it's on. Because the streaming services like Netflix, Paramount Plus, and Max, I can do those. I have those. I can do those on those platforms. Other than that, I don't I don't know if there's a King Arthur movie. No, there's a King Arthur movie on Disney Plus, and that's called Sword of the Stone. Sword in the Stone. And that one I have to watch because as a kid, I did not watch that. My mom told me about it as an adult, and I'm like, where did this movie come from in my childhood? It didn't exist to me. She's like, oh, because it was in your time. It came out in the 60s. I'm like, oh. Yeah, I wasn't thought of back then. Definitely was not thought of. All right, moving on. Okay, this is a trilogy that I did not finish. I only read book one like 2 years ago. And I will reread book one to make up the other two. Because I got book two for Christmas and I got book three. I bought it just recently. And I'll show you book 2 and 3 and I'll show you where it's from. So we got Foxglove and Wisteria by Adeline Grace, which is through the trilogy, through her Belladonna trilogy. So Belladonna, this I do remember. I do remember kind of like briefly a little bit, so I'll do as much as I can to explain. But I'm definitely going to reread this to get up to remember the world as much as I can, to the point where I can read book 2 and book 3 finally, because I finally got them. Belladonna is based on a story. What's the character's name? I keep forgetting her name. Her name is Signa. Her name was Signa. She became orphan. She was orphaned as a baby because she's cursed by Grim Reaper, which is death. And so she is cursed. I think she's like cursed to the point where every time she meets death will not take her, but every family member that she was with got cursed and by her, and they would die. And she would have to go from family member to family member to family member to family member. That I remember. And then she hung out with this family that was like rich people. And they had these, it was interesting. Like, I'm not going further to the detail, but it's kind of like, it's got a mystery with a gothic mystery to it. And I loved it. And I told my mom, I want book 2. And she's like, maybe you'll buy it. You never know. Book 2 came out. COVID was on the rise, and I'm immune compromised with asthma. I was told the author was coming, and I was told by my doctors, nope, you can't go. COVID is high. I'm like, ugh. Book author comes again the following year for the 3rd book, Wisteria, in 2024. Doctor said, nope, COVID's on the rise again. Come on! So, yeah. I couldn't even get to meet the author either. I couldn't even get to meet Adeline Grace, the one who wrote this. I was so bummed. But it's okay. At least I got all the books now and I can read it, which matters. She would appreciate it if I read her books, and I do. So yeah, I'm going to read that trilogy, read the first book again, and then read book 2, book 3, and finish and polish it off by a binge read. And that will be definitely before summer. Definitely before summer. It is definitely on top of my radars to read. The next book I want to read, it's a novella to a trilogy I really love by this author. And I met this author once, and she is super sweet. And that is Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. And this is a holiday book. Yes, I did get it for Christmas, so I didn't get to read it around the holidays. Normally you should be. To me personally, you could read a holiday book all year round and it ain't gonna matter. Oh my gosh, there's the paperback cover slipping. So this is a novella to her Caravel trilogy. This is the first book. I don't know what it is. I really adore Jax. Like, I remember meeting her in 2022, even though I had my mask on and everything. And that was when I met Alexandra Bracken was hosting her. And that was my second time meeting Alexandra Bracken. And Alexandra Bracken remembered me, which was awesome. Because I met Alexandra Bracken for the first time when Kirsten White came to town before the pandemic hit almost 5 years ago. Yeah, so what happened was I gave a picture of Stephanie Garber of the character Jax, who I have a book crush on since like the get-go of the series. And she adored my drawing. I had told her it's yours to keep, and she kept it. She's like, I love this. I'm like, oh, you're welcome. So yeah, I love Jax, like anything Jax. Like every time I read in a Stephanie Garber book, I'm like, Jax this, Jax that, Jax this, Jax that. It's it's so fun. It's a fun series. It's a fun series. Yeah. They were very sweet people. They're very sweet people, and Stephanie Garber was super sweet. I loved her. I liked meeting her too, and she signed all the books I had at the time. I think Caravel is signed because I remember reading it. I swore I did. See, she signed it for me too, which is awesome. That's because I went to the book event and somewhere in one of my bookstores, in the bookstores in downtown, I took the far drive and I was like, I'm going. I'm so going. And that's what I did. Yep, that's what I did. The next book I want to read in 2025. Oh my gosh, my brain is blank. Drew a blank. And the book I want to read is Fate Breaker, which is the third and final book in the trilogy of Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. It's been a while since I read this. I don't remember what it's about. 100%. It's been almost 2 years because I remember getting book 2 and then I reread book 1 and read book 2. So now I gotta reread book 1, reread book 2, read almost over 1,000 pages to read the third book, Fate Breaker. So this is gonna be a big read. So this probably will be I don't know. This might be by the end of spring to midsummer, maybe. That's what's gonna be because there's a lot of these books I want to read in the spring, and Belladonna is going to be one of them, most definitely, because the trilogy of Belladonna, because I can just fly by that and be done. So yeah. Oh, I could tell you what Realm Breaker is. Where are we at? Here we go. Save the world or end it. A strange darkness is growing in the ward. Even Coraine and Amarak can feel it, tucked away in her small town at the edge of the sea. Fate knocks on her door in the form of a mythical immortal and a lethal assassin who tell Coraine that she is the last of an ancient lineage with the power to save the world from destruction. Because a man who would burn kingdoms to the ground is raising an army unlike any seen before, bent or uprooting the foundations of the world, with poison in his heart and a stolen sword in his hand. He'll break the realm itself to claim it, and only Coraine can stop him. Alongside an unlikely group of reluctant allies, Coraine finds herself on a desperate journey to complete an impossible task with untold magic singing in her blood and the fate of the world on her shoulders. That's right. I remember reading that, and it's really good. I remember reading it and liking it. So, I highly recommend Victoria Aveyard. I did get into her Red Queen series, and that was good, even though I had a lot of betrayal from that series. That's so I Victoria Aveyard is really good with betrayal. Just if you read Victoria Aveyard books. So yeah. I'm going to show you the images on my phone of the 2 books I want to read this year, and I'm hoping to get them. One I want to read by Halloween, because to me it's more like that Halloween vampirish vibe of Halloween. And I don't have the first book in the hands right now. It's somewhere around the house. I have like so many bookshelves, I lose track of where it's at. So I'll just tell you the name of the book when I show you the image. So the book is called The Shadow Bride, which is the duology of The Scarlet Veil by Shelby Marin, or Marin, what do you say her last name? I think it's Marin. And I really liked this one. It's been a year and a half since I read the first one. when it came out. So I'll reread book 1 and then read book 2, and that'll be my Halloween read for the year in October of 2025. So yeah, this one I won't probably get right away. Maybe not. I'll probably wait till September to get it. So we'll see. The next book I'm gonna I want to read in 2025. It comes out May 6, 2025, and I am so excited for this. I love this series and franchise, and it's Sweet Chaos, the sequel to Sweet Nightmare by Tracy Wolff, which is the spin-off to the Crave series. And that one is, I remember getting into the series when I have nowhere to go. And everything was just locked down because of the pandemic. So I was like, what do I do? I'm like, okay, I gotta find another book to read. And I found Crave stumbled upon TikTok when I used to have TikTok. And it was being promoted, so I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. So I ordered it on Amazon. It showed up like a week later, and I remember finishing Crave in like 2 days and almost about over 500 pages in 2 days. I was like flying by, and I was like, ooh, it's so good. But just to be warned, this series and franchise, yes, there is trigger warnings, and I want you to be aware of that. So when I started reading Crave, the trigger warnings were in the back. I think with Sweet Nightmare, it's in the front. Don't quote me. I always look in the back just to make sure with her, because with these books, because I used to, I know, because okay. Oh yes, so she put it in the front in Sweet Nightmare in the spinoff, because I was like, ooh, they should put it in the front when I was reading Crave series, and then this one I'm like, they put it in the front. That's good. They finally heard my whispers and the whispering wish in the wind. So yeah, definitely this has a lot of this, I would say Sweet Nightmare hit me the hardest than Crave did. So there were times I had to put the book down and it was a little too much, and then I would come back and finish it and be like, okay, the book was good, but I was triggered a few times and it was hard. It was really hard at first, but then I got through it. So yeah. All right. Thank you for watching my books I want to read in 2025. I hope you enjoy. If you want to comment, feel free to comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe and press the notification bell. And I will see you all again soon. Bye.